Hello again, welcome back to Orange Grove Fairgrounds. Today I'm working on more of the downtown area for Orange Grove. So as you see in front here, I'm working on, this is going to be a barbershop and some type of general store next door. So I'm just going to finish up this building as quickly as I possibly can because I have a whole other block to finish. In this video, I've probably worked on six buildings, up to 6 buildings? Yeah, maybe 6 buildings, yeah. So there's a lot in this video this round. So I'm gonna, as you see, I'm trying to figure out how to do some different type of awnings. I don't want to keep using the same type of awning, so I'll use some borders. And I'm gonna paint them around, putting down some doors and make it the typical red, white banners or awnings, as you call them. And I also wanted to put down a roof underneath it to not see that see-through part. And then did some, what are those, little borders? Yeah, I can call them like quarter borders to give them off a little detail on the end. I was also trying to figure out what the front of this building should look like, so I kind of experimented with these, what these like. Are these gazebos? Maybe they're gazebos, something like that. So I only like the 2 on the side. Then I noticed I needed to build up some like barbershop pole, the barbershop poles that you see on a typical barbershop. So simply just put that in, simple shapes, off colors, and then some circle plates to indicate that it's a pillar, and then a small round gold part on top. And then just simple details of air conditioning vents to other things like that. So I tried to make these buildings as grid based as possible because of the pathways and some of the other grids of this game. Even though I have the ability to make most of these buildings off grid, but I do like to follow some type of simple rule set, and it makes it easier on building than versus just going everywhere with anywhere you want, because it makes it more complicated than it should. But I do keep grid based for the buildings because of the pathways, because the pathways cannot be changed. I can maybe try to like make it look like a curved pathway or something by messing with the paths, but I choose not to. Kind of the grid base of this game is still very charming, and it's still kind of part of the game, so I do like that still. So I'm going to finish up some of the little details here on this little, probably a general, I don't know what this is a general store, it's just a store, kind of next to the barbershop, so kind of was experimenting with different pillars and borders and details to make all these buildings somewhat different, but yet similar. So I kind of messed around with different things. It's also a good idea to do different color tones on like one simple like surface, like for example the roofs. It gives it a little bit of more detail to other things like that. Jumping over to the next building, well actually no, I made a couple different like blueprint building ideas to give myself an idea started, so I just kind of like place some squares, foundations to see what I want to do. So this is another corner building. This corner building is going to be a little bit different than the one across the street. So you always want to keep in mind that you want to build something a little different. So this building over here was going to be like a giant department store, but then I changed my mind a couple times. But it finally ends up to being a small 1-room theater. So it's like a very cheapy movie theater. So because this town's very small, I haven't really figured out what population I would make this town or whatever the story is. But this town is basically based off of a town out here in California called Tustin, and also another town called Orange. So that's kind of why the name of this map is Orange Grove, because there's tons of orange trees out here in California, and I live in Orange County, so I thought it would be fitting to kind of match that type of scenery, and gives you an idea in a setting, even though you probably won't be playing in this part of the map. This is just more of a, gives you a feel and an idea of where you are building, and then maybe you can pull inspiration from these buildings that I put down so that you can build it in the play area that you're going to get. Now the play area for the park, I'm not sure how I want that yet. There's been some different shapes and lengths over the past couple days, so I'll probably get that more put down eventually, but maybe I will probably work on that after this video. So trying to put on some awnings and figure out where I should put some of these pillars to give it a different feel. So this is more like it's brick built theater, so a lot of pillars, a lot of columns, and some decorational parts. So yeah, seems to be turning out. I did like the theater at the end after I got some like inspiration ideas. Also decided to try out a different type of window format, so tall windows. Looks good on a theater, even though you probably won't see them much. Trying out some different colored awnings, and then more borders. Borders does help with identifying like different sections of the building, because real buildings do have that. You can tell where the next floor is, if depending on how high the building is. You can tell where the next floor would be by a line or some type of border. So decided to put down the roof just to give myself a final version, because there's nothing in this building. It's just a giant prop. That's what it is. So yep, putting down windows, make it look more unified, and I think I start working on the marquee, or the giant sign that would say theater. Oh, kind of simple, square, basic. It turned out. I liked it, and the red suits it. So put down some benches for this town. Some of these things that you see might change, because I do like to change some things here and there so often. Yeah, just finishing up some borders after I think about what to add to said theater. Adding some caution, what are those, caution poles, so that cars don't run into the back of the building. So yep, there we go again with the discoloring of the roof to make it just look rustic, old. It's been used, it's been outside for years. Putting some little light bulbs on the marquee, give it that theater look. It looks like a theater now. Starting to get the hang of it. And then I looked at the back of this wall and wasn't sure what to put here, so I decided to try my hand at making a billboard. So I'm going to use the back of the giant window and do this by hand just to make it, well, you can't do it on grid because it'll be on the other side of the wall. So I try to just flush it up against the wall as close as possible. Now what goes on this banner, wasn't really sure. I wanted to try to do a sunset, so something generic. That wasn't working for me, so I was like, okay, well, what else could I do? Dots. There, I'll just do dots. So, don't know what it is. It could be anything. But I think the dots work out, so I'll just make them different colors, different sizes. Looks like a billboard. Looks believable. So I might do this billboard technique again somewhere else on the map, maybe near the freeway or the highway. And then put some emergency exits and some more lights. Yep, theater seems to pull itself together. We need some air conditioning vents as usual, so we'll do 2, and then air ducts. I'm trying to remember, someone said something about something on one of the comments. Oh, I can't remember, so moving on. The building next to the theater, the yellow one, is going to be it's going to be an ice cream shop. I should know this because I already built it. So it's going to be some type of ice cream shop. I wanted some like giant ice cream cone on top of a building. It's kind of like cartoony like building, so I kind of went back and forth on that. And then I don't always like making square buildings. Square buildings I see sometimes are boring to make, so I changed my mind on making this a square buildings and flat roof, so I decided to make a angled roof. And so then I decided to make it a ice cream barn, because I think that would be just weird. Because I never heard of an ice cream barn. That's weird. So I decided to make it barn shaped on one end, and the rest of the building square based, so that it's like a tourist trap building. So this is where Anarchy really helps in situations like this. Is that I like doing the little overhang of the roof. Gives it some more realism and some more detail. It's not as flushed up. So yeah, that's why I use Anarchy the most. I don't do it for walls, but if I want to, I could probably do it for walls. Later on in the video, you'll see what I can do with walls on Anarchy. But this is why I will only use this mod. I do enjoy this mod. I'm going to say thanks to the creator who made it. I forgot his name. But it's a good mod. It's a little daunting because there's a lot you can do with it, but little steps here and there you'll get a hang of it, and then you can use it for a lot of little things. Anarchy's very special in making vehicles, and I've made quite a number of vehicles, and I'm probably going to make more vehicles for this map too. So just finishing up some border details on the bottom part of the building to make some identification or definition. Then back with more patchwork, make it look used or been outside. Now it's time for the fun part, to make some ice cream, or ice cream cone to be exact. Very simple, not a lot to go into it, but just enough to make it believable. So yeah, white, vanilla, I don't know. What's the flavor of pink ice cream? So I'd make it pink and blue. Not sure, because I don't eat much ice cream. I only like vanilla, so kind of make it different colors. Lights here and there, borders to give it, not borders, sorry, pillars to give it more definition of a barn. Come to think of it, I should have put some type of wind, what's those wind turbine? Not wind turbines, like the east-west turbine things. I can't remember what they're called. I should put one on the roof maybe. Over here with the pillars, really quickly, I was going to put like some type of ice cream tanks, but then I like, that would look kind of gaudy and off-putting for an ice cream shop, so just more pipes, details like that you need, so I did that. So the building's almost done. More details here and there, then some ice cream, pink, and then blue. Yeah, there you go, ice cream barn. I'm gonna call. Oh no, I put a flag instead. Oh, that's what I did. I don't remember. Yeah, so yeah, some point of interest flags. So yeah, those were the two buildings. In the first video I made, I skipped on recording me making the traffic lights on the highway. So I decided to make some new traffic lights over here. So I kind of made a little demonstration of me building just a simple green traffic light. I did learn a technique from Studio Cave, I think it's C-A-V-Y, I think that's how I pronounce it, showing that if you do 99 on any of the color zones, or 999, it looks like it's glowing, even though it's not. So that was a cool little technique from him. So I used it, and it actually makes it look like it's on. So I saved a whole bunch of blueprints for these traffic lights and just placed down 4 in each corner to make it look like a legit crossing or intersection. So now off to make some new buildings, and I had some suggestions from people in the comments saying that you need to do more like utility buildings. So I did like that idea, and I already have the idea of putting down a fire station. So this is what I'm going to be attempting to build, some type of fire station. So just build the garage and then build the living quarters for the firefighters. So it has to be brick based because that's most fire stations that I've seen around have a brick foundation and giant windows in their garage, so they have light in the day, stuff like that. So very basic fire station. I did like building this. It was pretty fun to do. I used to simulate the garage doors or hanger walls, because they have little slits like a garage door would. Putting down some heavy stone columns, pillars to simulate like it's a strong, big building housing a fire truck. And then some just simple foundation for the living quarters. I'll add more details on that later. So yeah, figuring out colors for the door. I don't know if I changed the color. I might change it later. Yeah, I did change it. Yeah. So this is where it gets interesting with Anarchy. So I decided to push out the roof's like top border with a half wall out 1 square if you go the 4 square grid. So it's literally just like one square away from the main wall. I wanted to give it some ledge outcrop. So this is the only time I will use Anarchy. I will keep the base square on the grid, but things like up and high. I also did this on a build that I built a long time ago with a castle, and I wanted to make some like indents in the wall, and I used Anarchy to push the wall in and out. Same idea here. So yeah, it's a little hard to build in this type of situation because the game's angle kind of hides things, so I had to think to show. Yeah, I wanted to make, as you can see, the slopes, inverted slopes. I wanted to show you the door. I didn't want to hide the door. The roof had 1 iteration. I wanted to make some type of top. I don't know what you call those on top of a roof, like a barn, but it's not a barn. So that stayed for a little bit, and then I decided to not do that because it got a little complicated. And as I explained earlier, that this angle and building off-grid with walls is kind of tricky. You kind of don't know where to put them. And so I had a difficult time back and forth where to put this wall to kind of close up the roof. And so I normally don't do this, but this is one of those cases where this was a little bit more difficult for me. But don't give up, just prevail, and then it will turn itself out. And it does, and I figured out where to put them and close up the roof, and time to do some more details and stuff like that, because I think that walls without borders just are ugly. I tried some different ideas to give some like ornament on the wall or the ledges. I kind of went back and forth on that. Borders on the roofs to give it some more definition. Leaving a roof blank is sometimes okay depending on what you're looking for, but I like putting borders on everything. Borders are my best friend. I use them a lot. I'm putting on top of those spinning vent things. I'm not sure what those are called. I need to go look this up, but I think it would add some more detail when you add things like this. And yeah, so little spinny vents on top. And then starting to work on the living quarters. I was going to make the roof more enclosed like this, and I found out that it doesn't match the garage roof, and so I decided to just match it. And it makes it more unified and more, yeah, it makes it unified. That's basically it. More borders to make it unified again. Some little details here and there. I did like this building a lot. I might make a different rendition someday, like on another map or something, or make it a blueprint. If you want this fire station as a blueprint, just put down a comment in the comment section. I might do it. So yeah, finishing details. This fire station is almost done. I don't like that borders cut through those doors. So if you really want to have that, you have to pull the door off and then put it on the wall again without grid. So that's one annoying thing about borders. They're very, very thick. They're not like flush up against the wall. So finishing up roof stuff. I should be getting on next to placing down my fire truck. I did build a fire truck eons ago for a friend that was building some type of fire truck or like fire station area in his like park. So I built a fire truck like in an hour. That was fun to do. I might build a different variation of trucks again. But I was trying to do some ornament stuff. Didn't like it, so I kind of just gave up on that. And I realized as I was building, there's no sign or number on this fire station. All fire stations in the United States have a number on them, so you know what station it is, and or stuff like that. So I just went with a simple red, kind of catches your eye, and yellow, and I went with the number 92 because that's my birth year, 92. Just very simple. I use that number quite frequently because it's very, very common for me. And then there's my wonderful fire truck. I just plop it down. I am annoyed that it's not centered, but I built that fire truck on one square grid, so I'll live with it. It looks great coming out. Now we're on to making 3 individual shops. So these are like individual stores. So one being, I'm not sure what I would make it. The blue one over on the right, I'm not sure what that is. I just made another building. The yellow one in the center is going to be the record store, and the red one is going to be on the far left is going to be some type of small apartment building. So I'm just placing down very simple squares. They're all the same size, makes it easy on me. And start work on just different sizes of buildings. So yeah, I think it turned out. I might have to make more of these somewhere else off of the main boulevard into the downtown. What's going to be, so where these buildings sit, the road off to the bottom of the screen is going to be some orange grove. I'll probably be working on that in the next video. So that's what's coming up. So yeah, this map, I'm not really sure on the goals yet for this scenario, but I'll figure it out. It's kind of unknown until I finally get the park started. I haven't started on the entrance of the fair yet. I'm not sure how to make that look like a fair, or the fair has to be empty or some type of place. Figure it out. Over on to the yellow building, we're going to build a awning to house a sign or something for the records or something. That's what later on. These little hanger roofs, are very, very useful for doing little awnings like this. So I decided to make a different type of awning than the one previous that I did. These brick corners makes it identify really good. Then I have this little alleyway. I need some doors back here, another door. Now, wasn't really sure. I didn't like the plain red wall, so I decided to make this more of a brick building. So delete again and replace with brick wall. It looks better. I honestly like this way better. Now, I might not do such bright colors like this in the next couple other buildings I'm going to do. I need to do more muddy colors, more realistic tones, but it is also a made-up world, so I kind of like the idea of making it cartoony or something like that. So, just finishing up this building, and then I decided to do some little benched areas. Even though guests are not going to touch this area, I think it's fine. It makes it look realistic. Plants and planters. Get to work on some records. So I get to build 2 records, and I think they turned out because they look like records. I was going to do some like music symbols on the walls, but I can't do it with that small of a detail because I also ran into the top border, so I just kind of abandoned that. I might experiment off-site to do some type of more symbol or stuff like that. Onto doing the windows of this my little apartment building. Yeah. The downside for doing Anarchy is that when you do little elevations of parts, it doesn't go straight, or it's not perfectly lined, so you do have to keep in mind in that, but it's nothing really big of a problem to figure out. So let's see, what else am I working on? Smokestacks for buildings, stuff like that. And yeah, just more details. Looking good, looking good. I'm liking this build so far. This build might take me longer than my previous maps, but I haven't decided this is going to be my last scenario map. Probably not, because I do enjoy making some of this stuff. So I'm gonna finish off with some planter details. Now it came to me I needed to put some air conditioning units and windows, so I thought this was a charming idea, and so I put them in, tried to put some vents, but such a small detail it really doesn't matter, but I think it does bring some realism to this map. Yeah. Finishing up a roof access, and then later on a umbrella stand and table. I want to let you guys go, and I will see you guys in the next video, and we're going to be working on the entrance of the fair. Bye.